What's good? We're going to get into the final Monday Night Raw of 2025. The show was majority boring. However, I did like the final face-off between CM Punk and Bron Breakker, setting up for their big title match for the first Raw of the new year. The anniversary of Raw being on Netflix, so that's fine there. Spoiler alert, I didn't care about the Usos winning the tag team titles. I just didn't. Although the last 5 to 10 minutes of the match was okay. But, it is what it is. The tag team division is just utter garbage, basically. They might as well just make one set of tag titles and just have them float between Raw and SmackDown, if we're being honest. Actually, you might as well just say, you might as well just add in NXT in that mix as well. So you could just have one set of tag titles and they, float across all 3 brands, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. That's what I would do, but it is what it is. So, and I'm not the only one who feels that way. I know several YouTubers have talked about stuff like that in the past. So, but it is what it is. So, we're going to get into Monday Night Raw from December the 29th, 2025. So, we kicked the show off with the Vision. Austin Theory is officially a member of the faction, so yay. He didn't really get to say much of anything. He just said that he worked his entire career for this moment. So, and then he put over Bron Breakker, saying that he's going to be the next World Heavyweight Champion. CM Punk comes out. CM Punk says he's not here to listen to Austin Theory, but he's here for Bron Breakker. He says he's been called a lot of things in his career. He helps someone in the division, has a brain. He said that he wants to come into the ring and say a couple of things, but he knows that the Vision will probably attack him. So, the Vision minus Bron Breakker are out on the they're on the outside. So basically the Vision, they then leave the ring. So Bron gets on the mic and says that the Vision exists because they look ahead to the future. Bron said he started everyone saying that he's the future because he's the now. Bron says no one is more of a dog than him. Then he says that he's not the same as CM Punk. He says that he's willing to die for the World Heavyweight Championship on January 5th. And then he vows to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. So CM Punk says that it's a privilege to carry the World Heavyweight Championship. Then he says he's not going to let it go or stop having the privilege of asking the fans if it's going to be live on a Monday night. He says that Bron Breakker is big, bad, strong, and tough, but they aren't the same because Bron Breakker isn't CM Punk. So this is a pretty good way to start the show. I did like this back and forth exchange between the two of them. Now, clearly, WWE has to do something massive here, right? They can't fuck up with this. They can't fuck up at all. What they need to do is they're bringing back Jericho next week. And Jericho being back in WWE is going to be great. He's been gone for 6 years. So that's going to be tremendous to have him back. Do you want Jericho at the top of the card or do you want him in the mid card? So you could put Jericho in this and have him be the leader of the Vision, or you could do Ricky Saints, who I've been talking about for weeks, and get him rolling. Get him started, get him in the main event scene. I think either way you go, whether it be Chris Jericho or Ricky Saints, either way, either one is fine. Punk has had issues with both. Now, do we want to see Chris Jericho versus CM Punk? Me personally, not really, because we've seen that like 10 years ago. Actually, no, not 10 years ago, but back in, I think that was 2011 or 2012. I think it was in 2012 when they had their feud. Yeah, I believe it was 2012. So you could go that route, but however they decide to go, it must make a statement. It must be must see. Bron Breakker needs to win next week. He's got to. Bron has got to win. CM Punk does not need this. Basically, this world title is just a prop. But then part of me feels like maybe CM Punk could retain with the help of Roman Reigns. So maybe Roman Reigns shows up and he saves Punk. But then that makes the division look bad. So, I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. But if they're going to really pull the trigger next year on Bron Breakker, next week is the time to do it. They need to go ahead and do it for sure. Braun needs to make a statement. He needs to beat Punk. He doesn't have to have the title long. He could have it just until WrestleMania and have him lose it at WrestleMania, either to Punk in a rematch or maybe like a triple threat match. Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Braun. Maybe add Sami Zayn into it as a Fatal 4-Way because the Royal Rumble is in Saudi. So maybe we go that route. But we got to do something with Bron Breakker, man. You got to pull the fucking trigger. You just got to. Moving on from that. So this leads us into a backstage segment with Raquel Rodriguez. She doesn't really say much of anything. The only thing that she says is no one's going to get in her way. So Liv Morgan shows up. There's some more Judgment Day nonsense. So whatever. That's not really that important. Moving on from that. This leads us into the first match of the night. Stephanie Vaquer retains the Women's World Championship in the triple threat involving her, Nikki Bella, and Raquel Rodriguez. So there is that. Who really cares? The only good thing in the match is that she got a devil's kiss, and it got a really good reaction from the crowd, which was freaking awesome. So that was pretty damn awesome there. And Stephanie Vaquer winning makes perfect sense. I mean, come on. What do you do with Stephanie Vaquer going forward, though? Like, who is she going to feud with going into the new year? She's got to feud with somebody. I mean, what do you do? I don't know. I really do not know. Moving on from that, this leads us into the Kabuki Warriors. They cut a promo. So Asuka says that she faced Rhea Ripley last week and says the fans thought Rhea could beat her, but that didn't happen. Kairi Sane says that Io Sky should have never have attacked her. So Asuka then cuts off Kairi Sane and says that both Rhea and Io paid for their disrespect last week. She says no one's ready for the Kabuki Warriors. Then Rhea Ripley and Io Sky come out and have a little brawl with the Kabuki Warriors. Who gives a damn about this nonsense? I don't care. Moving on. Then Gunther and R-Truth, they get into it backstage. R-Truth ends up challenging Gunther to a match. He ends up losing. Gunther defeats R-Truth. He puts him to sleep. Who gives a damn? I would assume the reason as to why AJ Styles and Dragon Lee lost the tag titles was so that they can probably start the feud between AJ Styles and Gunther, fast track that and start that next week. That makes perfect sense to me. That's the only reason as to why they probably lost. So it is what it is. Then this leads us into Austin Theory versus Rey Mysterio. It was a no contest. Logan Paul got involved. So the ref called for the bell. Ray wins via DQ. Then the Vision, they beat up Ray for a brief moment, only for Penta to come back and make the save. He gets a massive reaction. So I assume this is probably going to set up a tag team match next week. Logan Paul and Austin Theory versus Rey Mysterio and Penta. Sign me the fuck up. Take my money. That's great. So that should be fun there. All right, moving on from that. This leads us into Maxine Dupree. She was out next. She asked the crowd if they enjoyed their holidays, and then said that Becky Lynch can pretend to be women's Intercontinental Champion, but she still made her tap out to the ankle like last week. So Becky shows up. She says that Maxine's still running her mouth, but Maxine warns Becky Lynch by telling her to choose her next move carefully. Becky Lynch says she finishes fights rather than starting them. Then Becky says that she thought that Maxine Dupree was the most awful thing when she first saw her. But she said that Maxine Dupree got a tiny bit better over the last few months. And she stole the women's IC championship. But Maxine Dupree says the only thing that she stole from Becky was her spotlight. And says that she's earned the women's IC title. So Becky then gets pissed off. She becomes irate, and she starts to rattle off her accomplishments, and then she says that she overcame all the corruption she's faced, and she says she always finds a way to win. And that was the end of the promo, so, I mean, that's fine there. Clearly, Becky Lynch is going to win next week, hands down. This is going to be the swan song of Maxine Dupree, basically. You know, she's had her time in the sun for a little bit. She got a little tan on, and now now it's going to all be taken away from her. So, I mean, that's fine. We know that this is just going to set up for Becky and AJ Lee, probably at the Royal Rumble. Like, it should be a feud where you start at the Royal Rumble, you continue it from the Rumble, and you end it at WrestleMania. So that's what I would do. So there is that. And then this leads us into the main event of the evening. Like I said before, the Usos, they defeat Dragon Lee and AJ Styles. Match was pretty fun, especially the last 10 minutes of the match. Crowd was super into it. So Dragon Lee took the pin, obviously. He lost via the 1D. So, Styles kicked out of the Uso Splash, and then Jay kicked out of the Styles Clash, which was great. So, that was really good there. Again, the reason as to why the Usos won is clearly they just wanted to send the crowd home happy. They were in Orlando. They got a really good reaction. It seemed like maybe 8,000 to 10,000 people were there. I know they had it in one of the arenas in Orlando. I can't remember the name. It escapes me at the moment. So, you know, that's fine, I guess. Clearly, the Usos winning. Who cares? Clearly, this is clearly just going to set up for AJ and Gunther. So, you know, Gunther's probably going to still do the running shtick of making fun of John Cena and all that. AJ's going to be the one to confront Gunther, and that's when they'll start their feud. So that's fine there. As to what you do with Dragon Lee, you could either put him on SmackDown and have him team up with Rey Fenix, or you could put him back into NXT. I forgot to mention that Jevon Evans was on this show as well. He got into it with El Grande Americano. So, you know, they're still doing stuff with that. Clearly, there's going to be a bunch of call-ups next week for sure for both Raw and SmackDown. So, I'm guessing maybe you could put Dragon Lee in NXT for a little bit, if we're being honest, because I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of call-ups next week. There's going to be a lot of call-ups. I got a feeling for that, for whatever reason. Again, this show was okay. I mean, it was pretty boring. The only thing worth talking about, really, is the Bron Breakker CM Punk promo, which was good. I still think that, as much as I like Chris Jericho, I don't want him to be the leader of the division, right? I really don't. I think what you do with Chris Jericho is that you find something for him to do. You put him in a feud with somebody, but I don't know who you could feud him with. And it should not be LA Knight or The Miz or anything like that. But you gotta feud him with a young up and comer, I guess. But I'm really hoping that they do decide to bring up Ricky, call it Ricky Saints, and have him be the one to cost CM Punk the world title. CM Punk and Ricky Saints have history from AEW. That would be great. That immediately gets Ricky in the main event scene. Ricky is a good heel. And I think that's the best option. But if they want to do Jericho and have Jericho and Punk, that's fine too. But again, they've got to do something next week to where it goes off with a bang. Because this year, WWE, especially the main roster, has sucked ass. It has sucked ass for WWE. Raw and SmackDown have been unwatchable for 95% of this year. Well, actually, you might as well just say 98% of this year. It's been unwatchable. It's just been unwatchable. Pay-per-views included, too. I think the only saving grace for WWE this year has just been NXT. NXT's been doing well for the past couple of years, and I like it. But, it is what it is. But what did you guys think of Monday Night Raw? Happy holidays. Hope you guys had a Merry Christmas. And I wish you guys a prosperous, awesome, Happy New Year. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.